Had something on my mind for a little bit. Yesterday at a Bible study, one of the guys there was talking about a YouTube channel he found called Alternative History or Alternate History. And it talks about how some of the notable historical examples of things that were not really about the thing that they were supposed to be about. The example he brought up was a statue of ostensibly a southern police officer loosing a vicious dog on a young black child as something that was apparently had a statue made of it. But that was not the case at all. But the photograph was something that looked like that. And because the photograph looked like it, it fit into, I don't want to say a narrative, but it fit into what was there, fit into what people wanted it to be. And it just kind of, they ran with it. And what he said was, over time, the black boy was like, or the black man or something was like 6 foot tall, and over time, as it got reproduced and recreated until the statue was made, the black guy got shorter and shorter until it was a young black child, and the white police officer got taller and taller. So it changed to fit the narrative. And again, narrative's not the right word. I don't want to use narrative, but like the idea, the concept that it was intended to represent. This reminded me of something I'd heard about. There's a pretty iconic photograph of during the Vietnam War of the North Vietnam, or the NVA, executing supposedly a prisoner, and he's got a revolver. It's actually a bodyguard frame. It's a very well known photo, but that had, I forget what the detail was. I have to look it up. But the effect of it was that it didn't actually have to do with what it was purported to be representing. And then in a YouTube autoplay, up came a video about the video that sparked a murder in India. And it was a video of a fake child kidnapping. And apparently, I'm not sure if the police made it or authorities made it or if it was independent, but it appears that people drive up on some kids on a motorbike, they grab the kid and drive off, and that's it. And it's like, oh, they just abducted that child. And then the end of the video is they come back and drop off the kid and hold up a sign that says, this is how long it takes to abduct a child. Beware. And that video got edited so that the last part wasn't there. And it was passed around on WhatsApp or, whatever video sharing service your country prefers. And the outrage grew and grew and grew. And I think that this is an interesting thing, because it provides a kind of an excuse or an outlet, or an excuse or a reason for, rather, an outlet for things that are uncomfortable and may not be said normally in polite society. And I think it's the same kind of idea as a joke. When I present a joke to you, if the joke is a little off kilter or a little edgy, it only gets laughs if you kind of believe it too. Like, I can say something kind of racist and you're like, that's kind of racist, but it's kind of true. Like, you're validating that a little bit. You might not feel great about it, but you're validating it a little bit. So the idea is that this, and this is the concept, take a long time to get to, but the idea is that these become it's like iconography. It's like a symbol, and it becomes an outlet, for a justifiable outlet for these feelings that people have pent up, like an aggression that they're holding down, kind of a thing. And it's not necessarily, and this is the crux of it. It's not necessarily that the thing is causing it. The the photograph of the white man, the white police officer, apparently turning a dog loose on a young black child, is not causing people to go, oh my gosh, this racism thing is out of control. That idea is already in them, and this is just providing a useful outlet. It's providing an icon to be held up as this is a symbol for this thing. And hey, I wouldn't normally say this, but look, this is a thing. And I don't know if that plays into it. I'm just kind of feeling this out, but perhaps people didn't really have, either didn't think or didn't want to think that racism was that big of a deal at that time. Or they thought, perhaps that their friends and neighbors didn't agree with them because it was, it was I don't want to say taboo, but it kind of an off-topic, not something you really touched on. And then this provided a suitable, something shocking enough, and the icon needs to be shocking, to say, oh gosh, look at this, I didn't think this before, but they did, but now it seems like, hey, we got to do something about this. And the outcome of that video that got passed around in India is that a mob got together and they wound up killing someone that they thought was the kidnapper in the video. And that's like all levels of hearsay and, mobbing up and just the worst of people. But it is an indication of something that's very deep-seated. Again, in my opinion. If I made a video about, let's see, it's in India, so like Chinese hypnotists hypnotizing their children and taking them away from them. Like, they're in India. They're like, hey, Chinese hypnotist is not an appropriate bad guy. But, the other guys, and there's a lot of classes in India. But if you can blame it on that other group, and you can say this is the guy and this is the reason and this is why, it provides that useful outlet. So it's not necessarily, again, it's not something, the icon itself, the picture itself, the video itself is not inciting this. It's merely providing an outlet. It's revealing what was already there. So that's just kind of, it's been rolling around in my head for a bit. And the idea, I guess the root of it is that, we're not so out of control. We're not so susceptible, I should say, to what we think the media or a media or any kind of media is feeding us. We like to think that the media is brainwashing us. That's a very popular thing to say, but a reaction is not something that's necessarily incited by an individual thing, at least a big reaction. If you come up with something that seems very true and it flies in the face of a lot of facts, yeah, you're going to get a reaction, but I don't know that it's something that would be as visceral or as socially changing, I guess. And it's just interesting to think about. So it's like you're an artist or an advertiser or something. You throw lots of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And every once in a while you strike gold. Well, if you take all kinds of photographs, all kinds of situations that appear to show all kinds of different things, one of them is going to stick. And where it sticks is, where it sticks, there's a nail. The picture hangs on a nail, which means there's a nail there, which means there's something deep-rooted there. So it's worth wondering. It's worth thinking about it, not necessarily as something that, oh well, this is inciting all of this stuff. Well, maybe it is, but Also, maybe that stuff was already there just below the surface. It depends on the stuff, obviously. If you're going to say it's a popular belief that everyone entertains and doesn't feel worried to share in mixed company, then yeah, it's not a deep-seated thing. It's not a hidden thing. But if it isn't, then you have to assume, or you might assume, I should say, it might be a bit of a bigger deal and affect more people than originally thought. So again, this is just kind of half-formed. I'm kind of working it out. I'm interested if anyone has any other examples or thinks something similar. Just trying to think about this. I realized I think I need to text my wife on my way home because I need to pick something up. So I'm going to do that. Hope this is moderately interesting.